Hello and welcome back to the last, but not, yeah, it's the last, typically, the last Fireside Chat, Day 2 GatherVerse Youth Summit. And with me, I am with the one and only Davin, and we're going to talk about in the new age mentoring the youth with AI, XR, and beyond. I suspect we have a lot to learn and a lot to unpack. Davin, before we just dive into the whole conversation, I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us why you're here.
Hello, Lynn. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Well, everybody, I am here because I am a WebXR creator and youth mentor, and also an educator. So I feel like this is pretty a pretty good use of my expertise. So I'm just here to kind of break down some things of some best practices, some things that you could do to implement your methods of teaching and help guide the youth in this new changing emerging climate.
Yeah, thank you for being here. We value your time. You mentioned you're a mentor, and I just want to find out. I'm just planning to find out, what does it mean? What does mentorship look like in a world where AI can guide, can advise, and it's also a companion to many youth? What does mentorship look like to you right now and in the future?
No, of course. Well, for me, I feel like it's my duty as the sense maker or the ethicist and advocate in this space. And AI is more so like a TA. Like if I can utilize it to get information and it gives me the information I need, but then I can come across with a cultural kind of spin because ultimately AI will give me the answer I want, but it's up to us to give or take that information and then give a more ethical and more something that will be more culturally appropriate because a lot of times these models aren't trained or don't really have the knowledge base from a certain perspective. So it's my job to bring perspective to that information. And a lot of times, I personally talk to AI all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, being an educator, I get what I need, or more so, what makes sense to me from
Mm-hmm.
AI, and then I interpret it in my own way,
Yes.
something that I can understand and comprehend. So, so that's pretty much with, within this current space, that's how I deal with that. I'm more of the like sense maker, more of the ethics, and then this is like the hard facts, and I take that and I build it into a perspective that they can understand and that they can also relate with. So,
Mm. That is very profound. I like that model. It leads me just to another follow up because you mentioned what you do, but the youths out here, the young people out here,
mhm.
uh, who don't know the difference of what is ethical and what is not, but they're taking advice from AI, and sometimes it can be biased. It may not be professional. How do such young minds comprehend what is right and what is wrong, and who is there to guide them? If we don't have a Devin like you around them, who can take that responsibility and how do we go about it?
Well, the only thing about that is the responsibility should be on the parents because they should know what their kids are doing. I'm a firm believer in, hey, staying very active, especially with around kids middle school to high school range, because the path can go anywhere. It can go anywhere. But also, that's one of the reasons why I also teach in my classes AI literacy, because I'd rather have the kids understand how to utilize AI and use it as a tool than be afraid of it and let it kind of consume them in some negative way when a lot of their parents don't understand it quite well. So they're like, they're very apprehensive about using it or having their child use it but it's the future. Like we have to adapt, we have to learn. It is a tool to be utilized. So a lot of times we have to monitor these things. And
Mhm.
like you said, if there's no me to
Mhm.
monitor,
Mhm.
a lot of stuff gets lost in translation, and then they just kind of do their own thing, and they use it for what they use it for, and then that could be that could lead to them using it to cheat, using it to do everything, and then when do they ever think for themselves?
Yes.
So that's the big problem. There is no just general me to be like, hey,
Mhm.
don't do this, or like, hey, use it this way, or hey, there, there are better ways and more profound ways to use this. So I think that's something that needs to be implemented into the, the AI standards,
Yes.
more like an ethics officer, like like just built into AI platforms. So as far as the answer right now, I don't have it, but could we
Mm.
have it? Yes, I think that's a good way to go about it.
Yeah, that's a very interesting perspective you had there, and I just want to shift gears to accessibility.
Mhm.
When we're talking even parents accessing it, I'm sure I'm certain that so many parents don't have any idea what is happening in the tech world. This brings me to this question: how can we use AI and XR to make mentorship more accessible to youth, even in underserved communities?
Right. Well, with that, it always comes down when you're dealing with underserved communities, when you're dealing with kids in general, it just comes down to access.
Hmm.
It comes down to access, making it more accessible, having those classes or like AI literacy classes, teaching them how to fully utilize AI. So it's like they don't think it's this evil thing because it can be, but it's not. These are tools for us to utilize. And also, it just, with the point of access, the same way that you can go to a boys and girls club and there are like basketball courts, there are foosball tables, there are different things. You have to have an XR space. You have to have a maker space where kids can go and make things and see and create, and that should all be a part of it. It's just opening up access and making it important so that we understand that this is the future and that we are well equipped to deal with the future. Like, yeah, just I would just say just heavy on the access.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's also part of GatherVerse standard accessibility. We're big on accessibility, and also I just want to also dive a little bit deeper with accessibility. When we're talking about making it accessible, I will look making it accessible in terms of prices, because XR gadgets are extremely, for some people in the world, they are extremely expensive. And also when it comes to AI, when it comes to access, when you look at a continent like Africa or a continent like Asia, or most of the parts of the continent which are very diverse, and we have an AI that speaks in English. Some people don't know even English, they don't even know a single word of English. So when we're talking about accessibility, how do we factor in all these kind of challenges that are all over the world?
Well, low barrier hardware. So
Hmm.
I know in Africa specifically, the use of the
Yeah.
cell phone
Hmm.
is huge. Like
Very huge. Yeah.
like huge. Like like I I never knew until I went to Cape Verde and I was like, whoa, like the things they're doing with their cell phones, like I just
Yeah.
use it to call and do this. Like it's amazing.
Hmm.
So just having one central low level barrier of entry,
Hmm.
being able to utilize your cell phone in
Hmm.
ways, being able to create applications, work with language models that can that can transfer language, culture, and g- gestures, like and understand what we're trying to convey,
Hmm.
so we can take in the information and say, hey, I'm doing this, and have that transfer to another person so that they can fully understand us. And I feel like a lot of language models don't have enough language options.
Yes.
Like you said, if like a lot of the language models speak in English, and they don't have many of the options for other languages. Like if I go and look, I'm not even sure they have that as an option. They should,
Yeah.
but like when I pull it up, the only languages I see, like I go to customize and then I go to settings.
Mm-hmm.
There's just there's well there's I take that back. There are a lot of languages.
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
there's and there's actually auto detect. So if you speak the language, it'll speak it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
There's room for more languages. I only see it like roughly maybe 30 languages when there are
Mm.
like
It's
hundreds of
quite small. Yeah.
languages.
There's room. There's room for adding more languages. I totally agree with that. And
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
came together with local communities from all over the world and tap into as much culture as we can. I just want to go to the next question because of time. And we have the issue of biases, right?
Mm.
How can we protect knowledge authenticity and avoid algorithmic biases when AI curates educational experiences? How can we do that?
Well, when it comes to bias, I feel like you just have to
All right.
see
Okay.
some.
You'll be back.
Okay, we're back.
Yes.
My bad, I was gone for a sec. But each bias is somebody's perspective and experience, and I feel like depending on who is depending on who is making these models, depending on who is programming this into existence, I feel like there needs to be education around being well rounded as a person and knowledgeable about the world around them.
Mm-hmm.
Because bias in AI, depending on what your bias is, can be very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this in the previous GatherVerse talk, but especially for African Americans, bias in AI with police software can be very dangerous
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't understand the cultural or the structural anatomy, and for some certain things, and then you code it in, and then it just puts everybody's face as like someone else, and then like oh, yeah, that's the guy. No, it's not. We look similar, but that's not. No. So it's it gets very tricky around biases and AI. So I feel like education is just needed, and we need more people, well-rounded people, to implement a worldwide bias into AI, so everybody understands where it's coming from, and you understand what's going on. So yeah, I think I may have
Yes.
strayed away from the question a little bit.
Yes, definitely. That was remarkable, and it's a good solution, and I totally agree 100% with that. And because of time, I just want us you to close with a closing remark. What would you tell the youth out there who want to do what you want to you do? They want to become future mentors or educators. Just one word for them. What would you say?
One word, I would say, I would say impact.
Mm-hmm.
Impact, impact is extremely important.
Yes.
It will help you make a decision. I've done pretty cool things in my life, but the most the The thing I'm most proud of is
Yeah.
the impact
All right.
that I've left from
Uh-huh.
actually taking my time out to help kids understand and teach and just be there for them.
Mm,
It's made me feel much better as a person.
yes. Impact.
So I would say if you're planning on going into a mentorship space, going into a education space, be there for the impact. Don't do it just
Mhm.
because it's a job. Don't do it just because you feel like you have to. Be there to
Mm,
be impactful.
yes. All right. Thank you so much. You could go a distance. And to all the people who are listening out there, follow Davin, follow what he does. And for the youth, remember to be impactful. And that was our fireside chat. Over to you, GatherVerse team. Thank you so much, Davin. It was happy to hear. It was an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Lynn.
Bye.
Have a good one.
And that's a wrap for day two, GatherVerse Summit 2025. It's been a real honor and a pleasure to be able to explore with all of you. There's so much that's been unpacked. We're already gearing hard and ready for day three. And then next week, day four, day five. A whole nother week set aside for more roundtables, firesides, and talks. Listen, I want to inspire the GatherVerse global community for those that are with us at gatherverse.live and the various social platforms. I want to inspire you to begin building your own AI models. The architecture's out there, the foundation's out there. Looking at that world when it comes to small model development, earth models, if you will, is not a bad idea. To become entrepreneurs in this climate and understanding the power of language, the capability of large language foundational models, diffusion models, JEPA models, and more. I'm often asked, what areas should I focus on when it comes to AI? What are the industries? I can tell you wellness in terms of health, science, for some countries, defense. Then you think about manufacturing, logistics, and more. I say this because we have to start thinking about the platforms in which the verticals that we innovate for industry. We must begin to think about what it means for human betterment at the innovative scale. In other words, we want to encourage people in the GatherVerse community to innovate like never before, because we believe that those that come from the pastures, if you will, of GatherVerse remember the expressions that were shared unto them and the expressions that you conveyed unto us. That is with hope that you're not just a founder seeking another unicorn, because a unicorn, as it said with Lafayette Global Launchpad, isn't $1 billion. It's not $1 billion startup. A unicorn is you. We appreciate the uniqueness of one another's contributions and the cultural expression of what each person, no matter the color, no matter the gender, no matter the geocentrics of where they come from, transmetropolitan, transcontinental, wherever you come from, we believe that you have a specific IP that no one else on earth can be able to unlock and to be able to tap into. When we think about innovation, we don't think about gizmos and gadgets and hardware and software. Why don't we start thinking about innovation as culture? Innovation is you. Because if we're going to extend reality, then we must bring reality with it. From the material layer to the virtual layer, to, as Russell Bundy discusses, the trust layer. We must be fortified in ethics and trust and safety. There are those here in my country that believe, I say my country, the United States, that believe that safety has to take a back seat when it comes to hyperscaling. That's not the case. Two things can be true at the same time. You can hyperscale and be safe. It's a necessity. For the ones that advocate against safety, privacy, wellness, ethics, for the ones that advocate against trust as progress stoppers and blockers, they don't care about you. For the ones that are for advocates of safety and hyperscaling, trust and hyperscaling, ethics and hyperscaling, they care about you. So instead of having to be beholden to another generation of other people's platforms and products that they build, we've never had this much democratized access to be able to build and innovate on our own and to take advantage of our own tools and use our own tools in cloud, on premise, doesn't matter. But we can use our own tools and resources to be able to build. It's far more sustainable, feasible, and doable. We don't have to dream about the innovations of other people's products. Why not allow us to be able to take advantage of yours? And with GatherVerse, you'll always have a platform to be able to convey and express the things that you innovate, because our community is locked and stocked and filled with innovators. We chop wood. This is Wood Chopper Society. This is GV1, and I'm out.
She sold my new blue jeans. My father was a gambling man on down in New Orleans. Now the only thing a gambler needs is a suitcase and a trunk. And the only time he's satisfied is when he's on a drug. Oh, mothers, tell your children not to do what I have done. Spend your lives in sin and misery in the house of the rising sun. Well, I got one foot on the platform Well, there is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I